Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below what you think, you fuck buckets. To stand out among the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud, till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me. By the will and strength of the Lord, all infidels will perish. Okay, I have established bullets don't work. Any suggestions? And what would be of this Renaissance Fair reject? He's a holy crusader, a guardsman, finding the realm of immortality through blind faith and trust alone. Sent here by my dad in order to do one job: guard. Guard and serve for all of eternity. To be fair, it's kind of a worse sort of hell. Fighting in a holy crusade? Ha! This ought to be fun. Time to show what this guardsman's true mettle is. Code Blue, Queen in danger of himself! Put me down, you bunch of honey brains! Hey, what about us? Stow that talk, gent. We're about to engage in medieval warfare. This is the impossible summit of Mount Neverrest. The episode begins with an explanation of what's happening. Scrooge is taking the kids to climb the unclimbable mountain that is Mount Neverrest as a Christmas gift, much to Louie's dismay. And after dropping the seeds of what would be the great Scrooge and Christmas rivalry, we get Huey, who is super excited to be able to be the first explorer to map out the best route to climb Mount Neverest, and he's just as excited as Scrooge. So, they manage to get there, where they find a small town. While visiting this town, Huey explains the story of how one particular climber climbed higher than anyone else, even though he was being trailed by someone called the Neverrest Ninny, the guy who essentially dragged the explorer down. But Scrooge takes that personally. He's going to be the one to make it to the top. But that's not everybody's goal. Webby has one specific goal in mind. She has never gone sledding before. And so, she buys a sled and, well, starts to attempt to sled. But Dewey tells her, dude, if you're going to sled, do it right. Let's sled down the mountain. Yeah, that's an A-winning strategy. I mean, I'm not going to be too hard on him. He's a kid, of course. They're going to go sledding down a freaking mountain. But then we get the last story plot with Launchpad, who gets conned by a con man telling him about the symptoms of cold fever, and charges him for a bunch of stuff that won't help him in the long run. But that's a minor story. We'll get back to it when we get to it. So they reach the summit, where they begin their climb, and Louie finally has some spark in his step to climb all the way to the top, until he's told that there's no actual treasure, so they've already lost one of their party. Great start, guys. Pow! Okay, this guy's tough. Any ideas? He's a crusader. He only knows how to fight. And with that damn divine protection, there ain't much we can do to stop him. Well, there might be something I can do. Yay, he's flattened! Yeah, but you used Toon Law. There's not gonna be any lasting damage. We gotta move now. Commando's right. We're not gonna win this one. Okay, let's all find the emergency exit before... Of course, there's more of them! Well, upon reaching the point of no return, they also lose a launch pad. Weighing down with so much gear, he slides back to the village, and winds up in a hot tub to have his own small adventure. But Scrooge ain't got no time to go back for him. He's gonna climb this mountain no matter what.
So they travel for a bit and come across a few landmarks, particularly Bunny Rock. Huey takes note of that. But they continue their journey. Dewey keeps trying to stop Webby from sliding down and spoiling the moment for herself, and they continue upward. Scrooge is hard, fast, and determined to find a way up this mountain, even more so than anyone else. They're used to him being a little bit stir-crazy on adventures, but this almost seems personal. But then Huey points out that they're lost. They know they're lost because they once again pass by Bunny Rock, much to their confusion. It's like they made no headway at all. But then a blizzard starts happening, so they've managed to find shelter, and during that shelter they find some weird cave drawings. Very specific cave drawings. And, to freak them even more out, they find the body of the original adventurer that went up the mountain. And on top of that, his dying words were cursing Scrooge. Yep. Whatever's happening, it's on Scrooge. So Scrooge reveals that he was the Neverrest ninny. Giving a flashback sequence, we see that Scrooge had booked the adventurer to help him climb the mountain to celebrate his first $1 million. But because Scrooge was unwilling to part with any of his supplies when the adventurer told him to, the adventurer literally attempted to murder Scrooge by cutting the line and making him topple off the mountain. Wow. Since then, Scrooge has been the one who has been called the Neverrest ninny. And I'm sorry, this backstory is not justifiable. No. I can understand that Scrooge was probably ill-prepared or equipped, but this guy tried to straight up murder him. Why did he spread that news? Oh, he went the farthest up the mountain more than anyone else. Yeah, and he also tried to murder Scrooge. Forget calling him a hero for climbing the mountain. Scrooge was completely justified. Well, after a few foreshadowing gags, the guys mention that the map of the mountain just flat out doesn't make sense. And this continues to not make sense as they exit the cave only to discover they're only a few feet from Bunny Rock. Okay, I calculated this guy's strength, but damn am I bad at math! Crap. Guys, be careful! These are holy weapons! Oh, screw this! I'm ending this now! By the honor of Grayskull! I have the power! Help! The other guy I'm flattening is getting back up!
Not a problem. Just let me at him. Commando, don't! Change back now! Now, why the hell would I change back when I have the upper hand? Because they're Crusaders! If you escalate the conflict, then they'll escalate the conflict.
Well, we temporarily cut back to the side plot as Louis finds Launchpad, who is desperately trying to warm himself up in a hot spring. And when he questions him about it, he discovers that Launchpad has been tricked into buying a bunch of useless stuff, as well as believing in a fake disease. And Louis, well, he's a con man, but at least he doesn't con family, and he's not about to let anyone con his family. Then we cut back to the regular plot, as Huey tells Scrooge that nothing about this mountain makes sense and that they should turn back. They're out of supplies, they have no means of support overnight, they are pretty much beaten. But Scrooge is too stubborn to give up, even when the mountain's top is about to give way, and Huey finally puts his foot down. They need to turn around. This causes an argument between Scrooge and Huey over what they should do, while Dewey and Webby are continuing their plot about the perfect sledding trip, and their goofing off causes them to fall off the cliff. Their shock, there's horror, there's fear, and then everything's alright, as Dewey and Webby are back on the cliff that they just fell off of. And then finally Huey tests the theory, throwing a snowball downward, but hitting Dewey square in the head. And now it all makes sense. The mountain is covered in wormholes. Yep, wormholes. That's why tracking the mountain just flat out didn't make sense. They were lost because they kept going into the wormholes without knowing it, due to the climate? Honestly, it's not really explained how they didn't notice that they were going through wormholes. But Huey, Dewey, and Webby begin playing around with the wormholes, but playing around with the wormholes causes the mountain to become much more unstable. Scrooge also decides to try to use the wormholes to get to the top, but no matter what he tries, he just can't seem to get there. And then Huey finally convinces Scrooge that maybe they should just turn around. Not because of anything against safety or anymore, but because it's the most sensible thing to do. They're not going to make it. I mean, it's already bad enough that they're fighting a mountain. Now they're fighting wormholes on top of it? Even trying to find the right wormhole could lead to certain death. It's too dangerous. Scrooge finally agrees to let the past go, but then an avalanche happens. And so it's time for that sledding subplot to finally take hold. Scrooge grabs the sled, grabs the kids, lets Huey die, nah, I'm just kidding, and they use the wormholes to sled down the mountain in order to beat the avalanche. While back in the town, Louie confronts the crooked shopkeep about his bad tactics by playing into those bad tactics, forcing him to admit that he made up the whole disease and causing the town to hate him. And that's minor compared to the giant avalanche that then buries the town. But don't worry, everybody's alright. I think. I mean, maybe somebody died. And so Huey gets a new t-shirt, and they decide to let this one go. A mystery that, sadly, won't ever be topped. And that was the impossible summit of Mount Neverrest. Another easily enjoyable episode in this large repertoire of enjoyable episodes. With no treasure, no goal, just a family outing trying to conquer an impossible task. Only to end up failing, but that's okay. Everybody had something to contribute in this episode, even if it wasn't straightforward what they would be contributing. But the character highlighted most here is definitely Huey. More specifically, Huey and Scrooge's relationship. Huey has been kind of the sideline of the triplets this time, which is weird because I always found him to be sort of the leader of the three little ducklings. I guess Dewey being an energetic attention hog, and Louie being one with the most corrupted morals, Huey just kind of seems like the generic good guy following the book. And it was also a good Scrooge episode, as we see that his pride tends to be stronger than his sense of safety in these regards, as he kept trying to push himself and the kids more and more to accomplish what is literally the impossible. Not out of fame, glory, but for pride. But I still don't consider him the big villain of the story. In fact, I think the only real villain in this story was the adventurer that attempted to murder Scrooge. I'm surprised a lot of people just straight up overlooked that. And even though it wasn't the Christmas episode, it was leading with a small grain of build-up to what will be the Christmas episodes. Can't wait to see how those turn out. And with that being said, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen, the organizers of chaos. See you next time. In the name of the Lord, we shall vanquish the infidels. I don't think bonking them on the head is going to do anything this time. At least we're going out with our boots on, am I right?
I guess it's time to piss off my brother. I am Samael, the Lightbringer, the son of your lord. I command your obedience, and for you to return from the shadows from whence you came.
Couldn't you have done that from the start?
Pooh!
To stand out among the crowd.
Even if I gotta shout out loud,
Till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me.